I've been playing RuneScape for nearly 20 years now, and after maxing my main account, I looked for a new way to dive into the world of Gielinor. I liked the idea of exploring an Ironman account, but I wanted to do something a little different and more challenging, so I created Chunk Token, a one-chunk account, which started in the region of Varla. I've come to enjoy the grind more than I ever thought I would, so much so in fact, I'm restricting myself a second time, but with a twist. This is Kourendrix, a brand new Ironman that's been locked to my favorite area of the game, Zeah. I'll be arriving there with no items, no money, and as few exceptions as possible. I'll only be completing X marks the spot, as that's required to even step foot into Zeah, as well as Druidic Ritual, as Herblore unlocks too much content there not to complete beforehand. My end goal? To completely master RuneScape's first raid, the Chambers of Xeric. This of course means obtaining the Twisted Bow, but that's only the start. I'll need to acquire the Omelet Pet as well as the 2000 Challenge Mode Completionist Cape if I ever hope to step foot out of Zeah. Oh my gosh, I am so excited to be starting this journey. I love Chambers and Zeah just collectively so much, and I cannot think of a more fun place to lock myself for a journey like this one. Before we can head to that beautiful place though, we do need to take care of those two quests, and I'm gonna start with X marks the spot, I think. I need to swing by the general store and purchase a spade. Oh, I guess it would have been helpful to stop and grab money out of the bank first, right? Alright, let's try that again now that we actually have some money in our inventory. The spade has been unlocked. Absolutely massive for the account. So for those of you who might be newer or just haven't done the quest just yet, X marks the spot is the first quest in the Kourend, the Great Kingdom of Zeah, storyline. You're first introduced to Veos, a figure from a mysterious land who isn't familiar with reading treasure maps. After helping him, you're granted the ability to travel to the great land that we'll be locking ourselves into for such a long time. The quest also directly mimics the functionality of a beginner clue scroll, which is a really neat way to introduce new players to clue scrolls. The more you know. And there we are, the quest has been completed, and we were awarded an antique lamp that grants experience, 200 coins, and a beginner clue scroll box, none of which matters because we can't keep any of it because of my restrictions. And goodbye clue scroll, and goodbye to our sweet free ride to some Slayer levels. Unfortunate. I won't be dropping the money just yet. I still need it for the next phase of my plan before we head over to Zeah. And as a matter of fact, I actually need quite a bit more of it, so we're on our way to the Stronghold of Security to collect our free 10k. And while we're on the way, I'll explain why I need this money. We still need the complete Druidic Ritual before we officially lock ourselves to Zeah. Unfortunately, Druidic Ritual involves a minor amount of combat. The most effective way to go about this is by using the magic skill. It deals the most damage at low combat levels, and since I'm trying to get to Zeah with as few levels or things to help me as possible, using magic seems like the most appropriate way to go. Unfortunately, runes are expensive, which is where this 10k comes in. I'll be purchasing a Staff of Air and some mind runes to be able to cast the spells required to kill the monsters needed to complete the quest. But don't worry, everything I buy now will be dropped later. Oh, this hurts so much to dismiss, but we're not on Zeah yet, so it doesn't count. Ugh. I feel like I've committed an atrocity. And of course we'll be taking the best boots in the game, and if you disagree, I can't help you. Now that we've got our money, let's go buy our magic supplies. One Staff of Air has been purchased. We'll go ahead and buy 5 Mind Rune packs, and I guess I'll go ahead and buy a pack of water and a pack of fire too, or earth actually. Just in case we actually end up hitting some later levels, even though we don't want to and don't plan to, but that way we can increase our DPS and make sure we kill things faster with those additional runes. Alright, so for Druidic Ritual, I know we need rat meat, bear meat, beef, and chicken, if I remember correctly. I am incredibly powerful safe spotting this rat. And there's our bear meat obtained, and there's our raw chicken. And last but not least, there is our raw beef. And while we're on the way to start this quest, now is as good a time as any to explain why I'm making this exception for Herblore. As you may know, The Herblore skill unlocks a wide variety of potions that prove useful in a plethora of different combat scenarios. Things like prayer potions to restore your prayer, or Ceridome and Brews, which essentially act like liquid food in a vial that restores your hit points. What I'm most interested in is what I can make inside the Chambers of Xeric. At level 52, you're able to make weak variants of the potions I mentioned before, as well as a potion that slowly restores your prayer over time. And at level 78, you can make the strongest variants of those potions. And at level 90, you unlock overload potions. These are like insane combat potions that boost your combat skills way above their current level and keep them that way for 5 consecutive minutes, while essentially negating any stat draining effects that may come your way. While these potions can be dropped by monsters inside the raid, running 2,000 of them, and especially as an Ironman, having the ability to craft your own supplies will prove incredibly useful. Plus, they don't cost any supplies to make. No excessive farm runs, no running out of supplies, you simply make what you need as you go, as they only exist within the raid. So that pretty much summarizes why Herblore is such an important skill. Now that that's been explained, let's go ahead and do this quest. It goes a little something like this. First, you're gonna go to Taverly and you're gonna talk to this guy. He's kind of the big boss around here. That last guy is gonna tell you to talk to this guy, and this guy wants you to dip your meat into his cauldron. And as I always say, whatever floats your goat. We don't judge around here. You're gonna climb into a dungeon about 2 feet from his house, and when you try to go inside, it'll activate 2 suits of armor. If you're new, just know you don't have to fight them and you can just walk inside anyways. Terrible security. Dip your meat into the pot. Return to gentleman number 2 with your soup-soaked meat, and finally return to the big boss to tell him about the adventure you just had. Congratulations, you just unlocked one of the most powerful skills in the game. This is the final exception that we have to make before we go to Zeah and lock ourselves there for the foreseeable future. We need to purchase our own player-owned house, and here's why. Construction, similar to Herblore, has a prerequisite prior to being able to utilize the skill and is also incredibly useful. Before you can gain any experience in the construction skill, you must own your own POH, or player-owned house. You can purchase one for 1000 GP, and I'll be using some of the money that I got from the Stronghold of Security to buy it. I'll still need to get to level 25 before I can use my home in Zeah, as it's locked behind that level requirement, so I'll still have to use some experience lamps from random events, or find another unique way to train the skill until then. And there we are. We've purchased our house, and officially finished the very last thing we had to do before we locked ourselves to Zeah. Alrighty, so we'll be heading to Zeah with level 5 magic. I guess that's not too terrible. I wish we could have kept it at 1, but that is what it is. And level 3 Herblore. And I guess that means it's now time to go ahead and get rid of all of these items, as they are impure and we do not need them. Though I will say this one is going to kill me inside to get rid of, but off it goes. It feels so good to finally be home, but we don't have much time to kick back and enjoy the scenery. The journey ahead of us is a long one to say the least, and the goal we set out to accomplish, completing all of Zeah, has some serious challenges headed our way. Beating the Colosseum to obtain our quiver, defeating the Delve boss for the Staff of Ayak, and of course completely greenlogging the Chambers of Xeric are all on the table. We need to start carefully crafting a plan of action to tackle everything that Zeah has to offer. From the gear we'll use, the supplies, the stats, and how we level them, there's so much to do, and I think we need to tackle things one by one. So where does that put us exactly? Well, I think I know just where to start. Thieving is a skill with a lot to offer. Money being the first notable mention is something we have well, none of, but we need it, so... There's a ton of shops around Zeah that sell various low-level armor and weapons for ranged and melee training, as well as rune shops for training our magic, not to mention access to slightly better food sources, like stews, for when we do start training, but of course we'll need money to make that happen. Secondly is access to low-level seeds for herblore and farming training. At level 38, you can pickpocket master farmers. This will give us a ton of low-level seeds that we need to get training those skills underway. With herblore being time-gated by access to only a few farming patches, the sooner we get building up a stack of herbs, the better. Yo, check this out. People just leaving free beers out here. That's great, because I am dirt poor right now, and I'm sure I'm gonna get smacked around a lot pickpocketing citizens. Hey, and there is level 2 Thieving, the very first level that we've gained in Zeah on this account. Oh, and we've also made 33 coins. I don't care what anybody says, but gaining levels on a brand new account is the biggest dopamine rush. It doesn't matter how many times in the past you've done it. It's just such a great feeling. Hey, and there is level 5 Thieving. We can now steal from cage stalls, which is exactly what we're going to do. Fortunately, we have a cage stall right here in the middle of the Kourendrix courtyard. It's nice, it gives 2 times the experience as what you would typically get from pickpocketing men and women, and it acts as an additional food source. These cages are actually probably going to be my best low-level food for quite some time, so what I'll probably do is get an inventory of mainly just cakes, bank them, and rinse and repeat. I'm not sure how long I'm going to be here just yet, but it'll probably be for a little bit. Fortunately for us, if you stand right behind his stall, this man cannot see that his entire stall gets swiped right next to him. So we managed to hit level 25 Thieving, and during that time we banked around 355 cakes, which I think is going to be more than enough for the foreseeable future. I think I'm going to move over to fruit stalls since we unlocked them and just train there. These stalls are nearly twice as fast in terms of experience, but that's not the only reason I want to train here. The 2 items at the top of my inventory, the strange fruit and the Varla fruit top, both can be obtained from the stall and have some pretty interesting properties. The strange fruit can be eaten to cure poison or venom and restores 30% of your run energy when eaten. These will be nice to have because I really won't have access to anti-poisons or stamina potions. The Varla fruit top is an ingredient in the botanical pie, which when consumed temporarily boosts your herblore level by 4. Excellent for when you need to make a potion but you're not quite at the level to make it at that given time. Both are worth banking for sure, and since we're training thieving anyways, we might as well stack some for the future. 38 thieving coming in, and we can now technically pickpocket master farmers, though we aren't going to go there just yet. If you take a look at this graph, at level 38 you have just shy of a 58% chance of a successful pickpocket on master farmers. At level 70, that jumps all the way up to a 77% chance to pickpocket successfully. Waiting until a higher level means we won't take as much damage, and even though a 58% chance to pickpocket sounds decent, I promise you it feels terrible. So electing to stay at fruit stalls until level 50 before switching to wealthy citizens over in Varla is the right move, especially for my sanity. Not to mention it came in really quickly too, but there it is, there is level 50 and we can now pickpocket from wealthy citizens. We can actually finally start working on making some money now. Okay, so I'm on my way to Varlamore, and just remember that the mountain guide isn't actually there until you speak with him on Mount whatever this is. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that. Which means that in order to get to Varla by walking all the way through here, I would have to run past the lizardmen. So I'm wondering if it's worth it to just run back to the bank, grab some food, and try to actually reach him on the mountain so I can have quick access in the future. I suppose it's worth a shot. Hey, we made it, and we didn't take any damage at all. So I would definitely say that was worth it. And now we can travel to and fro without having to worry about that at all. So I might be the dumbest person in the entire world. Somehow, I have completely forgotten that the Children of the Sun was a quest, and that is required to even step foot into Varlamore. This means that I am going to have to briefly return to the mainland to complete that quest, to have that done. It's not really an exception because it should have been done with X Marks the Spot and Druidic Ritual, but yeah, in order to progress in the series, I'm gonna have to return back and do this. I'm really sorry. That's so stupid on my end. I can't believe of all oversights to make that is the one that I make. But yeah, so we're gonna do that very quickly and pretend like it didn't happen. Wow, I can't believe that cave put us all the way out into the middle of the city. Alright, but seriously, back to business at hand. I left the continent just so that I could come back and steal from your citizens. Thank you so much. 55 thieving coming in. And there is 60 thieving coming in. And can I just say, what is this activity, man? I've been maxed on my main for years, so there's a ton of content I haven't really gotten to explore, but like, in just these 10 levels, which happened incredibly fast by the way, we've already made 113k, and that's not including the valuables we haven't sold yet. Plus, you get jewelry all the way up to diamond from stealing from houses. Man, I'm gonna have an amulet of power so much sooner than I anticipated. This is so cool for new Ironman. If there's anything else that's awesome like this that I'm missing out on between Varla and Kourendrix, please let me know down below, because this is so cool. And there is 70 thieving coming in. We made a ton of starter cash between just pickpocketing the wealthy citizens and the valuables. We have made over 500k, which I think is more than enough for the time being. Oh, and check this out. During our grind for 70 thieving, we actually got 3 clue steps that we can actually complete, and we're gonna give it a shot. You need 4 easy clues to guarantee that you'll actually get a casket, but we stand a pretty good chance of seeing one. Not that there's anything like in particular that we need from it, I just think it would be cool to actually complete one and open it up and see what we get. Alrighty, the very first clue step, do we get a back-to-back Zeah step? Ugh, we do not. That's alright. Let's do the second one. Alright, so this being the second step on this easy clue, we do have a very small chance of this actually being the casket. So let's hope for that, or at least a back-to-back Zeah step, so that way we can guarantee that we will have an easy casket by the end of this. Alright, no big deal. I didn't really expect it to get it on that second step, but it would have been nice. Alright, my friends, this is the third and final clue step. I was hoping it wouldn't come down to this one, but here we are. Let's not sugarcoat it. Do we get our casket? Oh, we don't. That is heartbreaking. Is it a back-to-back Zeah step? No, unfortunately not. Well, that was fun while it lasted. We did get a mystery box from a random event not too long ago, so maybe this will be our saving grace since we didn't get a clue casket? Well, you know, not a stale baguette, but I'll take some rune arrows. It definitely could have been a lot worse. The time to begin the low-level seed grind has begun, so we are now at master farmers and pickpocketing them. I don't know how long I plan to stay here. I don't think it'll be too terribly long, maybe to level 71, maybe level 72. I guess it really just comes down to how many seeds we get in that time. The main priority, of course, is getting things like Guam seeds that we can turn into attack potions to get a few Herblore levels, and other low-level things like potatoes, onions, so that way we can kind of train farming a little bit more along with the herbs that we grow. But I don't know, I guess we'll kind of just feel it out as it goes. It's usually better to wait until you have higher farming before committing a ton of time to master farmers, as the seeds that you get scale with your farming level. Things like Renard seeds and Snapdragon seeds become much more common at around 85 farming, but for us, for now, it's really not too big of a deal. We won't be here too terribly long, and we're kinda just trying to get our foot in the door with Herblore and farming for now. Level 5 farming coming in, and we can now plant onions. We are moving up in the world. Alright, and there is 71 thieving. I think that's gonna do it for me. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys what I have gathered from 70 to 71 of pickpocketing master farmers. And as you can see, we have a ton of low-level farming seeds. More than enough to get through the early levels, which is fantastic. Tons of potato seeds, tons of onion seeds, tomato seeds, etc. More than enough to get to like 15 or 20 farming. We also managed to get a ton of Guam seeds, Terramin dandelion seeds and marantol seeds, which is perfect because those are low-level herblore herbs, and it'll help us in the short term, which is what we're focused on right now. Way more than I need for what I have in mind, but I'll gladly take it for future use cases as well. And just to double down on why it was so important to hit level 70 thieving before starting that, I used over 100 cakes just to get from level 70 to 71, so even that 77% chance to actually successfully pickpocket, I still got hit a ton. So think about that at level 38, it's absolutely brutal. Okay, so what I'm doing next might seem very random, but I promise it is a part of the bigger picture. We are in Auburnvale. More specifically, we are in Lanami's axe store because I want to buy an iron axe, a steel axe, a mithril axe, and an adamant axe, because we currently do not have access to the woodcutting guild, and I want to train my woodcutting while we do farming in the background. Well, that didn't take too terribly long, but here is level 50 woodcutting. And just right behind it, 20 farming. 20 farming gave me access to the quest, the Garden of Death. It's a relatively short quest that dives a little deeper into the lore of the people who once lived in what we now know as the Kingdom of Varla, which is pretty neat, but I won't lie. What I'm interested in the most is the quest reward. And voila! Quest has been completed, and we have received 10,000 farming experience, taking us from level 20 all the way to level 31, for doing basically nothing, so. And while we're at it, there is one more quest that I would like to do, and that would be the Client of Kourendrix quest. We'll be meeting up with our old pal Veos again to help him out one more time. This quest, like the last one, is pretty straightforward. There's a client on the mainland of Gielinor who's interested in learning more about the hierarchy of Kourendrix. You speak to knowledgeable traders in each of the kingdom's houses to gather the information for this client. Return to Veos with the list of information, but wait, there's more. The client wants you to collect information about a strange, mysterious dark altar, and then possesses you. But don't worry, I'm sure there are no ramifications to that at all, and it won't create a situation that I'll be responsible for solving in the future. Return to Veos once more, pop off on him, and voila, quest complete. With this quest, we unlocked the memoirs, which will eventually allow us to teleport around to the different houses in the Kingdom of Kourendrix. We unlocked the Kourendrix Castle teleport, which will be incredibly useful once we start training magic, and then the real reason that we did this quest was the 2 antique lamps. These bad boys are going straight onto Slayer, and will get us from level 1 all the way to level 9. I'll explain in more detail why Slayer is so important later on, but for now, just know that it's imperative that we train in any way that we can. I'm very happy with how we've set this account up so far. And with Herblore and farming working somewhat actively in the background, I feel comfortable moving on to the next step in the plan to set this account up for long-term success. I think it's time to activate Phase 2. The Wintertodt. The claimer of AFK hardcore Ironman lives. The Wintertodt is a skilling boss, aka the fire-making training minigame that offers a substantial amount of supplies as rewards that cover a wide variety of skills, from planks for construction training, raw fish for cooking, herbs for herblore, and sometimes just straight raw cash. The fight is very different from your traditional boss fight. When you're damaged, you don't lose health, but rather you lose warmth. Food can be used to restore your warmth, and wearing warm clothes can help reduce how much warmth you lose when you're damaged. You can technically die here, but it almost requires effort to not be paying attention for that long in order for that to happen. Because of this mechanic, it makes it feasible to train here and reap the rewards at a very early level, which is our exact goal, to be set up for success for the rest of our account. Man, if only someone would have planned ahead for the level 50 fire-making requirement to start the Wintertodt, we could have jumped right in. Maybe a really smart plan, like training woodcutting and banking the logs while you're waiting for your crops to grow. Level 10 fire-making, level 20, level 30. Level 40 coming in. And that, my friends, is level 50 fire making. Time to wrap up the log burning and move on to the next step. We need to gather some of the warm clothing that I had mentioned a little bit ago. You need 4 pieces for full protection, but because we're restricted to Zeah, we'll have access to 2 starting off. The first one is the top from the Clue Hunter outfit, which is located just north of Shazian. And the second is actually just a plain old fire battle staff. With those items acquired, this will be my setup until we get some more warm clothing drops from the Wintertodt itself. The Clue Hunter top and the fire battle staff as my 2 out of the 4 warm clothing items, a knife, a tinderbox, a hammer, a few pieces of food, and an axe. I am forgetting an axe. Pretend there is an axe in my inventory. You definitely need one of those. Alright, we are finishing up our very first game of Wintertodt and hitting level 51 fire making right out of the gate. And we also got 2 reward points, so we're going to go ahead and take a look and see if we can snag another piece of warm clothing early on. Unfortunately not, but we did get watermelon seeds and some maple logs. Currently sitting at level 54 fire making, and just coming out to use up some of the rewards we got from this last game, and we absolutely spooned a Bruma torch. This counts as one of our warm clothing items, and we are now 3 out of 4, so at least we won't be taking as much cold damage now. Hey everyone, bit of a crappy update here, but as you can see, I'm in Lumbridge, and I'd like to address that pretty quickly. During a storm, for the first time ever in my entire life, I experienced a power surge that completely corrupted my hard drives, my CPU, my RAM, and my motherboard. I lost about 10 minutes of footage that wrapped this first episode up much better than what I'm delivering now, as well as the entirety of episode 4 of my Chunk series. I fell into a bit of a lull after that happened, sitting on this footage for well over a month, not really sure what to do with it. I had fortunately been uploading teasers to YouTube as I went, to get feedback from other content creators, as I really wanted to do something special and different with this series. So I had what I showed you guys today still to release, and I am very thankful for that. I've decided to wrap this episode up here so I can kind of start fresh on episode 2 and let myself breathe for a minute after questioning myself and what to do with this footage for so long. I'm sure you can see that I have full pyromancers, and I'm also currently sitting at 96 fire making. In the next episode, I'm going to showcase all the loot, as well as finish off 99 fire making and start some other pretty hardcore grinds. I'm honestly super happy. I know I probably sound depressed, but I'm actually really happy to be returning to this project, and I hope that what you saw before this clip projected the passion and enthusiasm I had while recording it. If you enjoyed, please consider leaving a comment and a like on the video, subscribe for episode 2, and if you want to come hang out, join us in our community Discord. The link's down below, and it's basically just me spamming you all dad tier memes. If you made it this far, I just want to say thank you again, seriously. I really appreciate the support, love y'all, and the next episode is going to be a banger. I'll see you all very soon in the next one.